Welcome to our session on flow engineering. We're going to be sharing a strategy for leading across the organization from the inside out. I'm Steve Pereira. I am the founder and CEO of Visible Value Stream Consulting.
And I'm Andrew Davis. I'm the Senior Director of Research and Innovation at Copado. And we'd like to introduce you also to Sharon. Sharon is our fictional Director of Software Engineering at Bolt Global. So we want to tell you a story. We want to tell you Sharon's story and a story about working with Sharon to help her out. So this story is touched on three things. Optimizing for clarity, value, and flow across an organization. About how to use the technique of collaborative mapping to take what's inside our minds and put it out in a form that everybody can align around. And then through that, how to create win-win-win situations for customers, for the business, and for the individual contributors. So Sharon's challenge, here's the scenario. Her company, Bolt Global, is facing a lot of market pressure, competitive pressures pushing them to make operational efficiency improvements, also opening up new lines of business. They've launched a bunch of improvement initiatives, and that has in turn created a lot of work for Sharon's team. There's a massive backlog of changes that her team is tasked with delivering. So she's under pressure to figure out how to deliver twice as fast as she's able to do today. The only question then is how. So this, although it's a fictional scenario, Sharon is facing situations similar to lots of organizations around the world. And we know a lot of these massive IT initiatives, digital transformation projects and so forth, end in failure. If we look at the literature about why many of these initiatives struggle to get off the ground or struggle to succeed, a lot of sources point to an underlying lack of clarity. Either the leading founding teams fail to gain the clarity that they need, or they fail to share that clarity across the organization, or they fail to sustain clarity as the competitive landscape is changing and technology is evolving and so forth. So we're going to tell you about how to build clarity, but first focusing on why we struggle to find clarity. So think about Sharon's situation. She's operating within the limits of her individual perceptual capacity. So she can pay attention to company strategic initiatives, her own initiatives that she's trying to roll out, the work items that her team is working on, the interpersonal dynamics and personal situations of people in her team. It's a lot to balance, right? And she finds herself doing a lot of context switching through the day and struggling to keep everything straight in her own mind, just due to the limits of our human mental capacity. As a species, we have learned how to create and enhance our clarity through culture, through interacting with other members of our community, of our group, so that we don't necessarily have to know everything, but we can lean on the people around us. But cultural issues can also interfere with clarity. Power dynamics, presence, fear in an organization, so forth, can impede people's ability to speak up and say what they actually honestly think about a situation. And the organizations can end up being blindsided in dramatic ways when culture is not conducive to clarity. And that's particularly problematic today because the systems that we're working on, for example, Sharon's team is building something like 15 or 20 different applications. They all interact with each other in different ways. They're built on different technology stacks. The market landscape is changing. So there's a phenomenal amount of complexity that her team is trying to manage and she's trying to manage. And these three things together mean that it's legitimately hard to find clarity.
So what we want to share with you today is something of an underrated capability in organizations these days, and it is collaborative mapping. It's bringing separate perspectives and individuals together to create a common understanding through mapping together. So by co-creating maps, by creating this canvas of separate perspectives, separate ideas and challenges, we're able to aid the improved performance of Sharon's team by getting all of the contributors to bring their best ideas and their own perceptions to this common canvas that creates this common understanding. So the practice here is highly engaging, right? We're bringing everybody and allowing them to speak up, to bring their strengths and capabilities to the team in a novel and fun way of collaborating. And the effect of this is that we create a shared context and a shared understanding. But also allowing people to bring their perspectives means that they have a sense of ownership over the outcome. You might recognize this as the IKEA effect. When you build something, you feel better about the end product. And by bringing everyone together, we're able to create a sense of alignment, almost convergence of these separate perspectives to a unified view of what's happening and what we can do with our capabilities and our situation. This is not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's not a copy and paste that we know doesn't work. It's not a heavy framework or, trying to adopt the practices of another company. We're creating something with Sharon's team, for Sharon's team, in Sharon's situation. And while we're doing this, everyone is learning about flow. They're learning about how to improve performance by doing the mapping and revealing these opportunities, bottlenecks, challenges, surfacing all of these things that often stay hidden behind the scenes. And one of the best aspects of this under the current circumstances is that it's very remote friendly. We're able to include participants across Sharon's team who might reside in different locations, or they're only in the office a couple days a week, so scheduling might be a nightmare if we didn't have something that was very remote friendly. So we're going to be guiding Sharon's team through a process that we call flow engineering, trying to optimize and